when humans stopped asking for HFY Cosmicvers EP1 Mastercut Part 1 in the galaxy's oldest records.
Look upon your broken world. Your defiance ends now. You are our captives.
Fear was listed as a constant, not a weapon, not a strategy, a certainty. Civilizations rose and fell. Stars were claimed and stripped. Entire species erased not because they lacked intelligence or technology, but because they reacted the same way when confronted with overwhelming power. They submitted. And so, across the known universe, conquerors learned patterns. Species born on high-gravity worlds fought brutally but briefly. Species evolved under radiation, endured pain but lacked imagination. Machine. Civilizations calculated odds and surrendered when numbers failed. Humans were catalogued early. Low durability, short lifespan, emotionally volatile, highly adaptable, but emotionally predictable. The conclusions spread through military academies and imperial archives alike. Humans could be scared into obedience. Burn enough cities. Kill enough civilians. Make the sky itself hostile. They would beg. They always did, until they didn't. The Dravak Empire did not consider Earth a challenge. It wasn't even a target of strategic value. Earth lay on the outer edges of major trade corridors, far from galactic cores, far from ancient power centers. It possessed no rare elements the Dravak couldn't harvest elsewhere. No strategic position worth defending. Earth was selected for demonstration. The Dravak believed in lessons, written loudly. They arrived without ceremony. No warning beacons. No diplomatic probes, no traditional declarations of war. Dravak vessels tore into real space above Earth like wounds in reality itself. Their ships were not elegant. They were efficient, angular, layered with adaptive armor that pulsed faintly like living tissue. Within minutes, Earth's orbital infrastructure ceased to exist. Satellites didn't explode. They vanished. Human astronomers never saw debris fields. The objects simply stopped being. Communication collapsed first, then navigation, then power. The Dravak did not aim randomly. They never did. They burned Earth's confidence, not its surface. Major cities lost power simultaneously. Oceans near coastlines began to boil as orbital energy strikes destabilized atmospheric pressure. Transportation hubs disappeared, cutting continents into isolated, panicked regions. Humans looked up and saw their sky rewritten. The sun dimmed behind alien holes. For the first time in recorded history, humanity realized something horrifying. There was no front line. There was nowhere to run. And still, the Dravak waited, because fear takes time to ferment. Inside hardened underground facilities, human leaders gathered not as politicians, but as witnesses to extinction. Generals stared at useless tactical displays. Scientists watched physics itself bend under alien weaponry. Diplomats waited for protocols that never came. This was not war. This was conditioning. Doctrine AVAK. Doctrine dictated. Restraint during the early phase. You let the prey understand. Helplessness. Only then do they kneel properly. The first mercy requests were drafted within hours. They were never sent, because something strange happened instead. Humanity stopped screaming. The global panic burned itself out unnaturally fast. Not because fear vanished, but because it transformed. The data didn't lie. Every surrender scenario led to extinction within 3 generations. Every compliance model ended the same way. Slavery, assimilation, erasure. That there was no version where humanity survived by kneeling. That truth changed everything. The United Nations reconvened under emergency authority. No cameras, no speeches, just a decision. The final transmission was not poetic. It wasn't defiant. It was final. No more mercy requests. The signal was sent across all known frequencies. Then Earth went dark. From the Dravak perspective, this confirmed success. The humans had broken. Silence always followed collapse. Dravak fleets repositioned, preparing for the final phase: planetary pacification, genetic cataloging, cultural dissolution. They never noticed the anomalies. Because humanity did not respond outwardly. Humanity turned inward. Beneath ruined cities, beneath mountains and oceans, human civilization compressed itself into something denser, faster, more dangerous. Research facilities abandoned. ethics overnight. Military doctrines were rewritten in days. Scientists were no longer asked what should be done. They were asked what could be done. Captured alien technology was dismantled, not to replicate, but to understand limits. Humans did not envy alien weapons. They studied alien assumptions. Dravak systems were flawless but rigid. Humans thrived in instability. Years passed. The galaxy moved on. Earth was reclassified as a failed biosphere. Dravak fleets withdrew. Confident extinction would complete itself. Humanity allowed that belief to spread. Meanwhile, deep in uncharted space, human shipyards came alive. Not massive armadas. Compact fleets. Ships designed not for conquest but for precision. They carried no flags. No insignia, just intent. The Dravak home system was ancient. Binary suns locked in perfect gravitational balance, studied for millennia. Their energy output powered not just a planet, but an empire. It was considered inviolable. Humanity studied it carefully. They did not design weapons to attack the Dravak world. They designed questions to ask its stars. When the first human vessels entered Dravak space, there was no alarm. No invasion protocols triggered. Because no weapons fired. The human fleet ignored defenses and positioned themselves with surgical precision near the binary suns. Dravak scientists noticed anomalies seconds too late. Stellar output fluctuated. Gravity vectors shifted. Fusion rates stuttered. The suns did not explode. They destabilized. Slowly. Inevitably, the sky over the Dravak homeworld began to glow the wrong color. And then, it began to collapse. Dravak civilization ended not in war but in silence. No heroic last stand, no evacuation, just a realization spreading too fast to escape. The humans had learned how to kill stars. Across the galaxy, something changed. Fear found a new direction. Empires stopped expanding. Borders closed. Ancient treaties were dusted off and rewritten, because one truth echoed across every strategic council. If humans were capable of this, what else had they learned while the galaxy wasn't watching? Earth remained quiet, scarred, observing. Human fleets returned not in triumph, but in warning. The galaxy began to whisper a new rule. Never corner a human. Because when humans stop asking for mercy, they stop fighting to survive. They fight to erase the threat entirely. The destruction of the Dravak home system did not echo immediately. At first, the galaxy refused to believe it. Empires dismissed the reports as misinformation. Scientists argued that stellar destabilization on that scale violated known laws. Military strategists assumed an internal Dravak catastrophe. But as long-range sensors confirmed the truth, denial collapsed. The binary suns were gone. Not exploded, not harvested, gone. And with them, the heart of one of the galaxy's oldest empires. The Dravak were not defeated in battle. They were removed. Panic spread quietly at first. Civilizations that had spent centuries projecting dominance suddenly recalculated their assumptions. Humanity had not attacked. Supply lines had not challenged fleets, had not demanded territory. They had gone for something far worse. They had erased inevitability. The galaxy had always believed there were limits no species would cross. Humans crossed them calmly. Emergency sessions were called across the Galactic Council. Ancient species that had not spoken to one another in millennia reopened channels. The same question echoed everywhere. Why? Why would a species choose annihilation over submission? The answer unsettled them. Because humans had discovered something the galaxy had forgotten. Survival does not always mean endurance. Sometimes, survival means removing the source of extinction completely. Human fleets did not press their advantage. They did not advance. They returned home. To Earth. What they found was not victory. It was absence. Entire regions remained uninhabitable. Oceans still carried scars. Skies still bore the memory of fire. Humanity had saved itself. But it would never be the same species again. And that was understood. Earth did not rebuild as it once had. There were no monuments to triumph. No celebrations. Declarations of supremacy. Instead, humanity changed its philosophy. They no longer measured strength in territory or numbers. They measured it in deterrence. Human shipyards shifted focus not toward expansion, but toward readiness. Not fleets meant to dominate space. Fleets meant to end wars before they began. Across the galaxy, alien observers began to watch Earth carefully. They noticed patterns. Human communications were open but guarded. Human diplomacy was polite but firm. Human borders were clear and absolute. Earth issued no threats. It didn't need to. The stars remembered. Centuries passed. New civilizations rose. Old empires faded. But the story of the Dravak never aged. It became a warning told to young species venturing into space. A lesson passed quietly between admirals, a rule spoken in academic halls. Never provoke humans beyond recovery, because humans do not seek revenge. They seek resolution. The Galactic Archive eventually classified the event, not as a genocide, not as a war crime, but as a corrective extinction. The archivists debated the wording for decades. In the end, they settled on something simpler, a statement, recorded without emotion. On the day humanity stopped asking for mercy, the balance of power in the galaxy ceased to be theoretical. Humans demonstrated that intelligence, when paired with desperation, becomes unstoppable. They did not conquer the universe. They forced it to grow cautious. And so, a new era began. An era where Earth was no longer ignored, no longer underestimated. Human ambassadors were received immediately. Human warnings were taken seriously. Human silence was feared.